When I was younger, around 20 years old, I and two of my friends decided to go camping deep in the woods. Equipped with flashlights, we embarked on our adventure, eager to navigate through the dense forest. As we were about half a mile from the nearest campsite, we suddenly heard soft whispering coming from behind us. Intrigued and somewhat alarmed, we quickly activated our flashlights and spun around to see what was causing the mysterious whispers. However, our beams revealed nothing out of the ordinary. We were puzzled but decided to keep moving forward. To our surprise, the whispering returned, and this time we halted in our tracks. We looked around cautiously, scanning the darkness for any signs of movement. It was then that we made a fateful decision. We chose to turn back and head to our campsite, driven by an eerie sense of unease. As we retraced our steps, we finally saw the source of the whispers. There on the ground was a woman, crawling and muttering incomprehensible words. She was clad in dark clothing and covered in dirt, creating a chilling sight. But the true horror began when she noticed our presence. Startled by our gaze, the woman abruptly stood up and started shouting loudly, repeating the chilling phrase, "We will kill you," over and over again. Her appearance and behavior sent shivers down our spines. We didn't waste a second and sprinted back to where we had parked our car, never once looking back. To this day, we remain haunted by the encounter. We couldn't discern whether the woman was mentally unwell, if something ritualistic was happening, or if it was something else entirely. The memory of that night lingers in our minds as a terrifying and unexplained mystery. My girlfriend and I decided to embark on a camping adventure to celebrate her birthday and our anniversary. We chose a remote location about 5 hours away from home, just after a major storm had passed through the area. Excitement filled the air as we left town early and arrived at our destination in the early afternoon. As we arrived, the person at the campground entrance informed us that we were the sole occupants for the weekend. We couldn't help but feel thrilled at the prospect of having the whole place to ourselves. We followed the lengthy pathways to our designated camping spot, but as we got closer, the road became narrower. Realizing that backing out would be our only option, we unloaded the car, assembled our tent, and decided to explore the nearby woods. The silence was palpable, and the brightness of the day reassured us as we strolled deeper into nature. As nightfall approached, we returned to our campsite. Darkness descended, revealing the true depth of the wilderness. My girlfriend, who was prone to being easily spooked, expressed her desire to seek shelter in the tent. We extinguished our fire, retreated to the tent, and continued our conversation. Suddenly, my girlfriend silenced me with her hand over my mouth and whispered, "Do you hear that?" I strained my ears and, sure enough, heard something peculiar. Heavy footsteps, as if a group of people were approaching, reached our ears. I tried to calm her by suggesting it might be animals. However, the situation took an eerie turn when we heard low, incomprehensible mumbling. It wasn't the kind of noise animals make. It sounded more like hushed, unintelligible human speech. We stared at each other in the dark, the tension mounting. The mumbling and footsteps grew louder, as if approaching our tent. Frozen in fear, we held our breath. My girlfriend was overwhelmed by fear and whispered that we should leave immediately. I sprang into action, disassembling the tent and loading it into the car. When I started the car, we were faced with a chilling sight. Two men stood behind our vehicle, illuminated by the car's taillights. Panic set in as my girlfriend screamed at me to drive. I swiftly locked the car doors and sped away from the forest, our hearts pounding with fear. Fortunately, we managed to escape the eerie woods, marking this camping trip as the most terrifying experience we'd ever encountered. Once upon a time, I embarked on a camping adventure in a remote forest. With my trusty chair, table, and some food, I was all set for a night in the wild. The forest was so isolated that even mobile signals were out of reach. As the clock struck 11 p.m., I decided it was time to get some much-needed sleep. Around 3 a.m., I jolted awake, my senses on high alert. There was an unusual commotion outside, as if someone or something was tampering with my table. I suspected it might be some curious forest critter and tried to dismiss it, hoping for silence to return. However, the noises persisted and grew louder, making it impossible for me to ignore them any longer. My curiosity got the better of me, and I summoned the courage to leave the safety of my campsite and investigate. My heart raced as I peeked cautiously from behind a tree, searching for the source of the disturbance. To my bewilderment, there was no one to be found. The forest stood eerily silent, devoid of any intruders. I felt an overwhelming sense of unease and decided it was wiser to stay within the confines of my camp. Fearfully, I huddled inside and attempted to resume my slumber. As the first light of dawn broke, I awoke to a rather unexpected sight. To my astonishment, I found evidence of someone else's presence during the night. There, next to my dwindling campfire, was a partially consumed cup of tea, as if someone had brewed it and taken a few sips before leaving it behind. The encounter left me with countless questions and a lingering sense of unease. What if the intruder had intended harm? I couldn't help but wonder about the mystery of that night in the woods, a tale filled with eerie uncertainties.